K9 units of the Ghana Police Service has deployed its officers with their dogs onto the streets to ensure the security and safety of commuters. This forms part of their grand security strategy for this festive season and beyond. This new way of policing in the country is aimed at increasing the visibility of personnel, improving intelligence gathering, tracking of contraband goods, and improving upon other aspects of criminal investigations. Here is Inspector General of Police George Kufuor on plans to transform service into a reputable institution. He was speaking at the 5th Volta Trade Investment Fair 2021 Young Entrepreneurs Breakfast Meeting in Ho.
We know that almost every Ghanaian, young or old, male or female, may have their own experiences about us as an institution, either at the individual level or at the institutional level. We know that not all the stories are pleasant. So I want to give you assurance that we are cutting a new path, and that path that we are going for, we want to be the most respected institution in the country. And a reference point for the rest of Africa and beyond. We know we can do it because we have the will. And whenever there is a will, there will be a way. We therefore want to plead with you not to judge us by our history. We are leaving that chapter close, and in fact, we will look at it more of a book than a chapter. So that book is withdrawn from the shelf, and we are replacing it with a new one. A book that would bring us to the level that all of you will know that yes, Ghana Police Service has arrived at a destination where you yourself will be proud of. And we will promise you that. Secondly, the issue was said about the fact that I've been there since I came, a few things have happened. I want to assure you that it is not about me. It's about my colleagues at the management level and across the country at all ranks. They have given me that support and cooperation for us to think together and work together to change the paradigm of the police in this country. And therefore, I want you to give it out to them, those who are here and those who are out. Third, I can't wait for the day that my name will no more be mentioned and the institution will override my name, in the sense that it is not about an individual, it's about an institution. Policing started in this country 1831, and since then, a lot of people have come and gone. The institution is still surviving. What it means is that you cannot try to be bigger than the institution you form.
We can now go on the Facebook page of the Ghana Police Service, and that we have the pictures of the units. We can take a look at them. All right, as you see in your shot right now, this is probably an Uber or something, and this was at a police barricade in the evening, and you can see that the dog is taking a sniff. Also here, the police are waiting. I'm trying to figure out the location. Okay, but as you can see, you've got like 4 dogs, 4 policemen, and another one who is leading them. Let's see if we can get more pictures there from the Ghana Police Service. Another car has been stopped, obviously with the DV plates, that's number 1. And then the dog has been taken around the car to sniff if there are any contraband, if there's anything in the car. All right, we also have another picture there of the dog trying to sniff the car there with the policeman guiding the dog. Another stop and sniff. It's not a stop and search, it's a stop and sniff. This one looks like it's on a highway, or like a highway, and the police are there with the K9 unit's car. Another car, a dog is sniffing the car. and we have the bystanders or the drivers there. So here it looks like it's an Uber, and it looks like the passengers and the driver are standing on the side looking at everything happening. So looking at the dog sniffing the car. Now, officers and their dogs onto the streets to ensure the security and safety of commuters. Dr. Jones Opokwari is a criminologist and joins us via Zoom for more on Ghana's security. Doc, good morning. Thank you so much for your time. Doc, if you can please unmute for me.
All right. Good morning to you, my sister, and Merry Christmas to you and your viewers.
All right. Now, does this strategy in the long term work for our jurisdiction?
Okay. Thank you very much once again. I mean, all over the world now, I mean, if you go to many of these advanced countries, having K-9 department or units within their police service is proving to be one of the most strategic and important strategies in terms of fighting crime. So for me, once it is something that has worked in other places, and looking at the further crimes keeps on changing and evolving over the period, and the kind of crimes that we are having now, it is very important that we have this kind of unit that operates within the police service that will help us fight crime. Because you see, the way the nature of crimes are, I mean, if you look at the patterns of crime that we observed, for instance, last year, most of these violent crimes, especially violent robberies, as we had them happened on the streets. And so you see that if we had this kind of unit at the time that were patrolling within the streets, they could have been able to pursue most of these criminals that we had, that were operating over the period. So, I mean, going into the future, it is one of the key strategies that I think should be able to help us combat crimes, especially robberies that happens within our communities and also on the streets.
Now, some months ago on PM Express with Evans Mensah, you said Ghana has not done well in terms of solving crimes. Will this K-9 unit make a difference?
Well, it can actually help in arrest. And as I said the other time, I don't judge the success of the criminal justice, system with only arrest. I judge the success based on conviction rate. So in terms of the arrest rate, it could help, because what happens is that these canines are able to assess certain places that ordinary, human beings might not be able to pursue, and even the security agencies might not be able to go. They are able to pursue at a certain kind of speed that, cars may not even be able to go, and also, human beings may not be able to do. So these kind of, animals, or let's say canines, are very important because they can help us to be able to pursue criminals and arrest them. If you compare the arrest rate to what, human beings can achieve, it is much better to use the canines, for the kind of crimes that we are having this time. So going into the future, as I said, I'm thinking that this strategy should be able to help, especially in improving the arrest of criminals, especially those criminals that operate within our communities and also on the streets, than using the human effort. So it's something that I think should be commended.
Dogs also get it wrong.
Yes, dogs also get it wrong. That is why, all over the world, where these units are used, or where we have these units, they develop certain processes, they develop certain policies that regulate the use of the canines. And I think that going into the future, I may want to find out from the police whether there exists any kind of, policy regarding the operationalization of that unit, who the handlers are, what we are supposed to be using the dogs for. Because, for instance, what we are seeing since this festive season, what is happening is that we have the dogs on the streets. We don't know which operational tasks they are supposed to engage in.
Yeah.
Are they doing for just contraband? Are they tip-offs? We don't really know. So most of the time, it is very key that we have these kind of strategies and policies that are spelled out for accountability purposes, so that we are able to know that, look, when these dogs come out at this time, basically, this is what they are supposed to do. And then when something goes wrong, it is always important that we're able to subject the police and their handlers, of these dogs to account.
Doc, before I let you go, what is your assessment of crime generally this year?
Well, I think generally this year you could see a pattern drop, in terms of the kind of crimes that we recorded last year. Last year, if you were very observant, Right from the second quarter of 2021, we recorded a lot of violent crimes within the country, and interestingly, these crimes were spread all over the country. We had a lot of highway robberies, we had a lot of street robberies in Ashanti region, in the north, and also in Greater Accra. However, if I compare the patterns as we've seen this year, there seems to be a drop in the kind of violent crimes that we recorded, especially on the street. And I want to give it to the police for the kind of strategies that they put in place to be able to combat, and to contain these kind of crimes. I mean, I must admit that we may not be able to uproot crimes such as robbery completely from the society, but once the police are proactive and they are able to stay a little bit ahead of the criminals, we can always devise certain strategies to contain them and to reduce the patterns that we have there. Because once there is that kind of violent attacks on the street, it creates a certain impression that the country or the society is not safe. And that can create a lot of anxiety and apprehension for the citizens. So this year, going into 2023, I'm hoping that the police will continue with the strategies and probably, improve on what they've done for the year that has caused that kind of decline in what we've seen over the period.
Well, going into the new year, is there anything else you'd like the Ghana Police Service to work on?
Yes, I think the police service must do more of community engagement. And I like Dr. Adam Parry for his approach. And I was watching what he was saying. That because I remember, saying some time ago that we must be able to, police the country in such a way that it doesn't become like a strongman approach, but one that is institutionalized. And I'm happy that he recognizes the need that a time will come that his name must be replaced with what the institution is rather doing than what he as an individual is doing. So I'm thinking that once he continues with his community engagement approach, which for me is yielding a lot of positives, especially at the community level and also within the street, it should help us to be able to contain any crimes that may arise. So I encourage them to continue, do more of community engagement. The citizens must also give out more information to the police. They must be more observant within their communities and then report suspected individuals that seem to be patrolling within our communities with suspicious characters.
Doc, thank you so much for your time. Dr. Jones Pokowari is a criminologist.